Hello again, everyone, and welcome to American Idioms Part 4. This is the fourth video in my American Idiom series, and like the others, I'll be explaining 5 more idioms for you, numbered 16 through 20. But first, I'll give you the chance to guess the meanings to each of them. So, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Number 16. The example is, I completely forgot what I was going to say during my presentation today. So I had to just play it by ear, and I did a decent job. Can you guess the meaning? If you guessed B, to figure things out without a plan, then you are correct. And that's what happened in our example here. The person was giving a presentation and they forgot everything. So they had to figure things out or do what they remembered in order to complete their presentation. And from the example, they did a decent job. Here's another example. I wasn't able to make a reservation at any hotels for our trip to Miami, so we'll just have to play it by ear and see what we can find when we get there. In this case, they didn't have a plan for a reservation, right? They didn't have a place to stay. So they just went to Miami and they found something, whatever they could find. They just played it by ear. That's what it means. So to not have a plan and still do something by what let's say, the situation dictates, that's what to play it by ear means. And here's number 17. And the example is, I saw a guy walking down the street yesterday who was a dead ringer for the actor Bruce Willis. Can you guess the meaning? And this answer is C, a person or thing resembling someone or something else. And in our example, the person saw a guy who was a dead ringer. A dead ringer means that the person looked exactly like the other person. All right, that's what a dead ringer is. It's almost like an exact copy of someone or something. Let's look at another example. That company is known to make products that are dead ringers for those made by top brands in the market. In this example, the company was making exact copies of other products that were probably expensive. So, for example, maybe you've seen the expensive designer bags, and some are copies of the real designer bags. They're dead ringers for the bags, right? So that's what a dead ringer is, an exact copy of someone or something. All right, this is number 18. And the example is, getting my kids to do their homework is sometimes like pulling teeth. Can you guess the meaning? If you chose B, you got it correct. To do something that is very difficult. And that's what our example is all about. It's about getting their children, the people were trying to get their children to do their homework. And sometimes it was like pulling teeth. You know, pulling a tooth is usually a very difficult process. And that's what it's compared to. And we use this a lot. To do something very difficult is like pulling a tooth. Let's take a look at another example. The district attorney tried to get a straight answer from the defendant, but it was like pulling teeth. And in the end, he was unsuccessful. So in this case, we have the district attorney was trying to get information out of the defendant, and the defendant was not cooperating. So it was like pulling teeth. It was very difficult. So in the end, we call it the DA, the district attorney, was unsuccessful because it was so hard. All right, number 19. And the example is, the family that was robbed last week was very upset because the man that robbed them only got a slap on the wrist by the judge for the crime. Can you guess the meaning? If you guess C, to get a small punishment for a crime, this is exactly the answer. And that's what to get a slap on the wrist means. It means you are punished in a, let's say, a minor way. And that's why the family, in our example, is upset, is because they wanted a harsher sentence or punishment for the culprit in this robbery. And the judge probably gave the person a very small punishment or a minor punishment. Let's take a look at another example. In this example, the judge gave her a slap on the wrist by fining her instead of giving her jail time for the crime she committed. All right, so the same thing. The judge gives her an easy sentence or an easy punishment, like a fine, instead of putting her in jail, putting her in prison. All right, and that's what a slap on the wrist is. All right, the final idiom, number 20. And the example is, after a couple of stores were successful by offering discount coupons for buying some of their products, many of the other stores jumped on the bandwagon and offered similar deals on their goods. Can you guess the meaning? If you chose A, to do something because everyone else is doing it, it's exactly correct. And that's what happened in our example. The one store began to offer coupons, discount coupons, and then the other stores followed them. Because everybody else was doing it, they did it. And they jumped on the bandwagon, as we say. Here's another example. Many traditional car makers are jumping on the bandwagon and are beginning to make more electric cars. Now, in this example, traditional car makers, meaning that cars that usually make gasoline engines, began to go along with everybody else. They were jumping on the bandwagon. Because everybody else was doing it, they started doing it, and they started to make electric cars. So they jumped on this electric car bandwagon, if you want to say it like that. Got it? That's all for this video. I hope you're enjoying these idioms. There'll be many more on the way. So thanks again for subscribing. Please share the video. And remember what I always say, keep practicing. See you next time.